there's that famous scene in The Matrix where Morpheus gives Neo the choice of taking the blue pill or taking the red pill. Choice is always a very interesting thing because you never know if it's going to be something that's going to help you in the long run or hurt you in the long run. In my earlier stages as a YouTube content creator, one of the biggest risks that I was taking was finding out that I was actually able to get my videos monetized and become a YouTube partner to gain some money off of ad space. And my attitude was, you know something, I'm going out to see these movies, I'm buying this merchandise, I don't think there's anything wrong with getting a little reward back from all of your hard work. So I pressed the button, worried about, of course, copyright infringement, but at that time, YouTube was a very interesting place, and the copyright laws were, while they were actually being used, they weren't as stringent as they are now. But after that, I was still pretty much just enjoying my thing, doing what I do best, and 2014 was where a choice was made. But it didn't happen right away. At the beginning of 2014, I actually did two interesting things on my channel. I had actually reached my 300 subscriber mark, to which I decided in February that I was going to do something that was actually going to allow people who are watching my channel participate in a very interesting thing. And it was called the Great Film Throwback Project. That was when I finally decided that I always knew that there were so many classic and cult favorite movies out there that I really should have seen a long time ago. And until I take the time to actually see these movies, I never will truly be one of those great film appreciators. And it was a choice of 50 films, and a whole bunch of my watchers actually put comments in various videos, helping me wind down to a total of 12 that were going to be seen throughout the year, as it was going to become a monthly segment. In May of 2014, that was when there was so much hype around the Zack Snyder Batman v Superman movie because of the fact that the choice was made to make Ben Affleck the new Batman, and that was when I decided to make a video talking about the Christian Bale Batman, because the Dark Knight trilogy had just wrapped up 2 years ago, and I wanted to tell people what my attitudes were on both Christian Bale and Ben Affleck, and I called it a Versus episode. I had no idea what that was actually going to become, but it was a very important video now that I look back at it. But it was in November of 2014 where I realized that there was actually something really dark happening in the YouTube community. Because of the fact that YouTube had been a successful platform for almost a decade at that time, there were some very big names that were actually being called out for doing some very, very, very bad things. Some of the biggest names in YouTube were actually leading their fans on to the point where they were actually doing things like sexual assault, both male and female content creators, and it kind of made me sick to my stomach knowing that there were so many places throughout time where older people with twisted minds were able to take advantage of younger people. And, you know, did I think it was never going to make it to a place like YouTube? No. Eventually it was going to happen. But what really upset me was the fact that here were these content creators that had so many subscribers and were actually making so much money just being YouTubers, and even though it was never my intention to be one of those kinds of people who would make so much money and just make YouTube my full-time job, the fact that they really took this power that they had and truly abused it was something that will never be forgotten in my mind. And it is kind of funny how there are so many people who are making videos now who don't even know that this happened. But that year, it was getting close to the end of the year, and I officially decided that because I was one of the older members of the community, I realized that I needed to say something. I needed to do something to let new and younger people who were first using and watching YouTube for the first time, letting them know that not everybody out there is a scumbag. There's actually decent people out there, and there are actually people that at some point in time feel that they're not going to be content creators anymore and want to pass the torch on to a whole new generation. So I made a video, and it ended up ironically being my 400th video. I mean, the fact that I was actually making over 100 videos a year at that time just shows you how comfortable I was and enjoying my work as a YouTuber. But I basically said, I want people to know out there that I want to be someone that will help you. I will comment on your videos. I will give you the understanding of the tricks and the trade and give you guys the opportunity to be great content creators, but more importantly, be your genuine selves and be more comfortable in your own skin. And I was a little nervous when I posted that video, but it did get a little bit of very positive feedback. There were some people that disagreed, but that whole concept of the Twitter mob was something that was not even a twinkle in somebody's eye at that time. Through that, the following year, I really started to get very involved. I started doing a lot of live shows with other people on their channels. I also had discovered the BookTube community because in 2015, I had officially begun the end of my graduate school career. I had also gotten engaged. That was around the time I actually joined one of my very first collabs, which was definitely very exciting and fun. And that was when I was also starting to build some truly great relationships with content creators. I also decided in 2015 that I was going to do something called my Lawn Gnomes Guide 2 series. And because of the fact that in the summer of 2015 I had just finished my thesis, felt that it would be very cool that people who were going to be doing their own final projects or their own thesis statements in the future get a little bit of an insight of how to do it, how to pace yourself, how to get the timing right, how to not overwhelm yourself with your work. And I was very happy that I did that. It was something that really let people know that I was out there to make a change, I was out there to be a different person, and I was out there to really be a helping hand and a guiding light. And also, one of the few things that I never thought I would ever do in a million years in that very same summer was a good friend of mine, Sarah, at her channel Sarah Ella. She is now an author, and I do actually have some of her books. She is such a great person. She told me to make a Twitter account. Twitter was something that I was so against, never thought in a million years that I would have a Twitter account, and clearly you guys know that Twitter is now basically a part of me. I love it, even though there may not be some great things on it all the time, but it is such a great communication tool, and it is definitely something that I was so happy to have discovered. And then at the end of 2015, I had latched on to so many different communities, I had become friends with so many people, and I even ended up putting together a little group of YouTubers to talk about our favorite songs and artists, and it was called the Friday Five, thanks to a great creator and author named Sarah Crawford. And that pretty much was, I would say, where my true standard was met. That was where my true current formula was officially set in stone. Of course, a couple of new things would happen here and there, but that was basically what my channel was going to be. Thanks to that one video that I made in 2014, and now that we're taking a look at 2020, that is truly what the Lawn Gnome has been ever since. Hey, thank you so much for stopping by my channel today. If you're new here and want to see more of what my channel has to offer, please click on the link to my last video, or hit that subscribe button to be kept up to date with all of my uploads. Content of all sorts is posted here quite often, so trust me, you do not want to fall behind. I will see you in the comments, and actions speak louder than words.